Hey, what's up? Alright, so I guess we're gonna start this thing. I have to do this with the camera not facing me. Man, it's hard to be seen, you know? I realize I've had like this critic in my head where it's like Lucille from Walking Dead, and it's just been ever present, and it's like always been vocalizing itself before the other parts of myself can. So if I have an idea, I'd probably criticize it before I even think through being able to complete it. Well, we weren't recording. Isn't that great? Whatever. I was talking with someone close to me, and it was this realization that they brought up how if you want to connect with people, which I do, I can just speak my feelings, and that's a good starting point. That was kind of mind-blowing to me because, again, it doesn't matter which part of my brain it comes from, but whichever one it is that's like very literal about how things are interpreted, that's the one that usually thinks on how to respond. So I think allowing different parts of me to respond just as they are, that's the goal now that I'm feeling. Again, even feeling, that's the thing too. Are you recording now? Yay, okay, good. Just want to make sure because I was talking for like 3 minutes. Man, I'm just so glad that I'm like making progress that I am, and I'm very proud of what I've been able to do, and so much of my recent growth has been around not judging myself, and because that's been present for a very long time, and I didn't realize that wasn't me per se. I mean, it's different parts of you, so take that for what it is. And those are still tools too. Like if you need to use that for something, then like that's available to you. But I definitely found that after looking at it, like I lean on the same characteristics. It's really pretty, a lot, and I think that's what I've been trying to grow. Is like, are you still recording? Yay. Okay, cool. Okay, it's that anxiety of it not recording. But so there's this thing, I ended up calling it Lucille, because we've talked before about how, not we, but like me and other people, and me just figuring things out with myself, that there's like this, and I don't think it's as blatant, but I like the naming, like how it's like if you beat yourself up with a bat or things like that. But characteristically, yes, but mine's more subtle, and whether that's like good or bad, well, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Like, it's not productive. That's not what I'm looking for either. So, but again, even that's critiquing. Okay, now it just went blank. Okay, I'm trying to figure out. It'll like shut down what I'm feeling. Like I think it just happened right now, as you just saw it. It tries to correct itself because it wants to be sure of what it's portraying. It's so worried about how it's perceived by other people that it prevents the other things from speaking. And I think I was walking over here. I'm trying to convince it to, well, what I was originally thinking was like, okay, I'm gonna try and turn this part of me off, or like make it not as present. But then I was walking over here, and because before I was thinking, I was like, oh, like maybe I just won't listen to that part. And I knew that that's not. I was like, okay, I don't want to fully be black and white like that. But the thing that I did realize was like maybe I can change its goal, because a lot of times maybe it is insecurity then, of like it's fear of being seen for what you're not, or something. Like, if someone takes what you said the wrong way, that's what the concern tends to be. Even if that's not like a logical concern, it still enacts its thing. And that's what I've been trying to work on, at least in terms of perception, like being aware of seeing it like in action. I'm trying to notice when it turns on, and it definitely seems to be a like anxious response, and then if I end up following it, then it just like shuts everything else down, and then it's like, okay, now I lost the opportunity, but I'm safe. Southwest. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably too small. It's pretty cool though. I don't know if I even... Whatever. So Lucille, I was like about to critique whether I did everything wrong, or I was like, oh, I went off track again, or whatever. Like, nope, just stop. Yeah, so I don't think it's as blatant as beating myself up with the bat. It's much more subtle than that. And again, I don't think that's like a... Well, here we go again. It perceives itself to be more subtle. That's how I feel. I don't need to explain it to myself. I don't need to justify it. I'm trying to tell myself that. It's not... It's tricky. Okay, it's shutting down again. Okay, so Lucille... Let's see. Yeah, so it's very strong, but very subtle. And I think it convinced me that it's not that powerful. And it's like just there. It's like, oh, it's just a little thing. It's just a little thing. But I'm naming it Lucille. Not because it is, like, inherently harsh or, like, full of, like, all those, like, spikes and stuff. Like, I mean, its effect on me is, absolutely. But it's not, like, extremely negative. I don't know if it's very fear-based, maybe. That's my feeling. That's just the first thing that came into my head. I don't know if it's how I feel, but it's what my mind said. Like, coming out here and talking, I woke up this morning and I had, like, a idea in my head for recording, like, for music, like a lyric, which I don't usually have lyrics in the morning. That was pretty cool. I know Devin Townsend has mentioned that. This just looks really cool, so I'm gonna change it up a little bit. So that was kind of neat, that I just felt like I was, like, in a good headspace when I woke up. I needed good sleep after, I had good sleep. And there was, like, this cool video that came up. Again, I don't have to spoil it. It's like, oh, I know it's the algorithm, or, like, I know it's because it's things I've been watching, whatever, but I'm taking the messages that I'm receiving from online for what they are. Like, there's these very positive, what do you call it? Like, I guess spiritualistic, like, again, it doesn't even matter, like, what I believe or what I don't believe, or, like, but it's making me feel better, and I'm following that because that's inherently what I need, so I'm just going with it. Like, it was looking into how it's like, oh, we need more people to positively follow their inclinations and do what they do and step up to the plate and, like, be more authentic and vulnerable. And, like, I was already kind of feeling that, and that's the thing that's, like, beautiful. And I was gonna say weird, but it's a positive thing. Unexpected, or just, again, aligned, one of those kind of things. Thank you, Danielle Lynn, great YouTuber. There's plenty of names I could name. I need to go through and name them all. But yeah, I guess I felt very aligned to like go experience out and about again. Okay, my bezels are too small on this new camera, and I think that's why the video stopped earlier. Off train of thought again. Again, it's not bad. Just it's very tricky. I wanted to come out here and make like this is absolutely. It was saying again. Well, whatever. There's these videos. They're saying it's like okay, time, or it's like times are changing, and it's like there's something in the air, like you can see the growth, or like, oh, it seems like it's gonna be different now, or that kind of thing. And I've been feeling that on my own anyways, so it only helps me feel better, you know? And again, okay, fine, I'll just give into that side of the brain just to let it loose. It's like, okay, I know that it's because that's the headspace I'm in, so then I'm searching for those kinds of videos, so then it shows up in my feed, and then I click on more, and then it knows that I like those, so then it just recycles itself. Like, I know that's there. I'm cognizant of it. But in the same point, I'm just like, fuck it, you know? Again, it's not even that it's a bad thing, it's just that, like, in the most positive light possible, the only thing, like, divine energy and divine experience and things like that, like, so much of what I would count as divine, or what would you call that, like a higher power or things like that, like, I can because of how I how I tend to think and things like that, I can find logic-based answers that explain it. So, because I can tend to usually always do that, in the past, that's always been like, okay, that's why what would that be, like agnostic or things like that. And again, I still don't have an answer because I don't know, but from my experience of like positive growth and like following in those positive outlooks, it has helped. So I do have merit in that, you know what I mean? Like, in the action of belief, there is growth. Even if I don't have the answer to whether it is like a divine intervention or like a higher power or things like that, like, I mean, I can always find a logic-based answer that kind of ends the... trying to find a good word, a positive word. I was gonna say guise or charade, but I'm not trying to negatively connotate. Like, I almost think that's kind of the point of it. Well, like, say if they're... again, I'm not trying to ask, I'm just... again, this is logically me speaking. Like, if I were to be a higher power, like, any divine intervention that I would introduce into people's lives, like, of course I would make it so it's backed up by logical things, because then it won't expose the magic. Because then if it did, then it would be like this whole thing. So the only reason that I have logic to base up all of these things that are aligning for me is because it could have been designed that way to... it's like, well, if you're gonna look into it and try and like go behind the curtain, it's like, fine, then do that. It's just your positive experience it's gonna dry up. And that I feel, I think. Okay, we're still recording. So that's where I'm at with it right now. Like, I have logic to point to where I don't know, or here's why logic thing explains that it doesn't necessarily have to be higher power, or I do also have feeling, again, this is new to me, like I do have feeling of like, okay, there is something big that's helping right now, you know? And again, it's silly, but it works. Well, I don't have to preface it. My current standing is like Schrodinger's cat. I'm very much living life in the Schrodinger's cat mentality, where it's funny that it's a science thing. It doesn't have to be a science thing, but the logical fallacy of it is that it's neither here nor there. It's just that it's like a union type in Rust. No, enum type, sorry. Don't use union types in Rust because they're not safe. They're unsafe. Only use enums, please. Just silly stuff like that. Like, the way that I would describe a higher power or my acknowledgement of it is either by Rust enum types or Schrodinger's cat, because I feel like it's the same thing. Maybe. Again, I could look into that more. Like, could you describe Schrodinger's cat with a Rust enum? I think so. And I think the point of it is that the enum is the experience we're in. And living as if you knew which part of the enum it was, that's my feeling. Again, I'm not saying other people are wrong for believing. I'm not trying to I'm just stating my experience, okay? I'm glad people can have peace however they do. I want people to have peace however they do. I want people to have conclusions however they do. I just feel that being in the enum state of could be yes or no, that feels conclusive to me, because I can explain that. Does that make sense? Even though I don't have an answer to that yes or no, I do know that it could be either. So how does this all wrap into everything again? Well, like all these like positive things of like learning to grow, and again, back to those videos of positive reinforcement, I guess you could say, like good outlooks and helpful things to... Are you still recording? Yay, we're still recording. Yay. So I'm taking the positive outlooks and growth, I was gonna say help. I need another word, like tips and tricks. That doesn't sound very fancy. 3-minute crafts, but for life. 5-minute crafts? Whatever spirituality trending in YouTube shorts is. No, I don't like... I watch the long form videos. I like long form videos more. But yeah. So even if I know how the pattern works of, okay, this is why it's showing up in my feed and like things like that, like the tips and things to enact that the videos mention in the first place are helping. So that's enough for me to enact them, you know? And it's the same with like, all of this growth started happening after a bunch of loss. And what I've realized in the last, I was gonna say the last day, I guess that's kind of when I feel like I realized it. I probably have been building it in my head, but whatever. The conclusion was arrived at yesterday, where I was like, okay, since 2019 until now, 2026, like there's been a lot of, what is that, trials and tribulations, to say the least, on a personal level. So it kind of, even though I've still been growing during that time and finding conclusions during those moments of hard experiences, I kind of did leave off from when I was like 16. Again, that sounds silly, but that's how I keep going back to that. Like, I don't know if that's how I feel, or if it's like, maybe I've returned to that part of me, so it's like, okay, now I'm back to there, and then like enacting those going forward. But yeah. And like, it sounds funny. It's like, oh, come on, just get over it or whatever. But I do feel the most whole there. Like, a lot of the things that I've been doing are things that I've wanted to do. Like, and even then, not like there hasn't been growth during that period too. Like, regardless of the trials and tribulations, like, in order to get to the point where I am now with these things, it was because of the steps I took of growth and trying new things since then. Like, alongside the growth from the trials and tribulations. But what I'm saying is, like, I definitely feel like there's things that were in motion there that were put on halt, and they weren't picked back up, or they kind of were I don't want to say forgotten, set aside, because abandoned is different. Like, that's like, I don't think you have the intent to come back to it. Like, parts of it were like obscured, and it was like, okay, there's not as much headspace to continue on that path, so we have to resolve these other things first. And that's how I feel about it now, and I think that's how I feel about it going forward. Like, I'm at where I'm at now, whether that's ahead or behind, or again, it doesn't matter. It does for perspective. That's been my favorite word this week, perspective. There's so many, wait, do I want to change subjects? Yeah, favorite word's perspective. I could go on a whole thing for that. But yeah, like, I'm reconnecting with things that I wanted to do back, what is that, like 7 years ago now. 7? 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, I guess. Like, I've wanted to, my BMX bike is, the freewheel is broken, and I want to go, like, riding again, because I forgot how fun it is to, like, stand up and ride and go on a single speed bike and stuff. And even if it was like that I was a kid then, the things that it brought me were fun. Same with, like, the music making process, or making fun videos, like little skits and things. Like, I didn't even make, like, I mean, it was for school projects. Like, I never did, like, acting or anything. That wasn't really, it never crossed my mind, and it didn't really, maybe I didn't allow myself to get, like, I don't think I had fostered that part of me. That was the thing earlier this week. Might need to sneeze. Where I think there's parts of me that I definitely haven't built yet. Like, the creative side of me has always been there and fostered, thankfully, because I know that's difficult for some. I need to sneeze. I'm gonna pause. Okay, blew my nose. I feel much better. Okay, just want to make sure you're recording. I don't even know if you're not blurry or whatever. Whatever. I've just been having this feeling that, like, I don't want to lose what I feel is myself. in adulthood. Because I feel like a lot of other people, they've changed. And maybe it's my projecting or fear or something. I mean, it could be those. And I'll look more into it because I haven't fully dug into it yet. But, and again, like, everything based in self-actualization, responsibility, growth, both being reciprocal to looking up to people and being someone looked up to, all of that I'm all for on a board. All aboard. Yeah. I'm all aboard for those. But what I don't like about adulthood is that it seems, again, not like it's a blanket for everybody, but from what my perception of adulthood has been for the longest time, was that people seem to omit themselves for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because it's difficult or because people tell them they shouldn't be themselves, or like, oh, you don't do that, like that's a kid thing, or like, oh, that's silly, don't do that, don't be ridiculous, or like everyone gets so hyped up in, to me it feels like silly stuff. Like I know it's, people have to take the leap and do world stuff, I guess you could say, like, but that's the thing, is that like I'm all open for responsibility and boundaries and doing things honestly, and so it's not like I just want to like sit in my basement and like play video games or like eat Cheetos all the time, or like I just don't want to be omitting what would that be? I was gonna say honesty or earnesty. I don't know if it's like that people kind of seem to forget themselves or put it by the wayside, like not taking time for yourselves, or like only do it like, oh, do you guys want to go have fun, let's go party, and then like go and again, maybe it's me projecting, I just don't understand. Okay, maybe I don't have to think. Is that Lucille up there? Okay, whatever the nature it is, I'm just gonna keep going. Like people seem to go, oh, it's shutting down again. See, when I tell Lucille that I can see it, it's like, okay, I'm gonna kill all the plugs. Maybe it's just getting lost train of thought, I guess. Random thing, this looks like the Empath album cover on the special edition disc. I don't have it, but I would love to get it. That was on task, right? Hello? Hello? Oh fuck, now I'm really in the deep end. Can't remember. Partying. Like when peers, people I work with or colleagues, that kind of thing, and they're like, oh, let's go have a fun time or something. It's like, we're gonna go hang out at this place and passively play this game, but we're not too serious about it, and we're just like talking gossip, and we're gonna drink all these drinks and then be negative about how we don't like our work experience, but then we don't go and do anything about it, so then we just keep chugging along and being sad about the lives that we didn't make. That's what I don't want. Does that make sense? Is that too hard to ask for? And that's the thing. It's all within your power. That's it. Right? Am I missing something? Am I being a derp? Am I skimming over the details? Like, is it hard to do this? Yes. Is it, like, I mean, being honest with yourself or taking the leap? Like, everyone starts at different places. Okay, maybe this is Lucille or Logic speaking or whatever. Like, I know it's different for everybody. I'm definitely the example of that. Like, everyone has a different experience. But isn't the notion the same? Maybe just people aren't aware of it. I don't think I was. Maybe that's part of it too. I just wasn't aware of it. Or maybe I have, because I have held on to it. Well, I think I was gonna say, like, I almost fell off into that same thing, but I don't think so. I think Lucille is the manifestation of trying to get me into that spot of being that negative thing. When it's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this thing because it's what you're supposed to do and it's what everyone else does, and that's what fun is, right? Or, oh, I had a bad work week, so I'm gonna go party with the buds, and then we're gonna go get wasted, and then take an Uber home, and then we're gonna watch this movie, and then we're gonna go back to our sad work week, and then not talk about any of our feelings, and then do it all over again. And then ask years later, why do I not feel fulfilled? Or, oh, I never got to do that thing that I wanted to do years ago. And then get sad about that, and then it compounds. And then what do you do? So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Wait, no, I do know. It's pretty cool. I wouldn't mess with me if I were you. Alright. What are we vibing over here? What are we vibe coding, guys? What do you want to vibe code today? That's my new verb. Is that a verb? But I forgot how many people aren't into AI and vibe, or into coding and stuff, because I'll just say that at work, like, and I don't work in programming. I eventually want to, I think, because people-wise, it's great. Like, I seemingly probably have ADHD, but again, haven't been diagnosed. I tend to empathize with the traits of people that have ADHD. But yeah, it'd be great to be into programming. What the fuck was I talking about? What did I got off track talking about ADHD. Like, come on. Bro, what the hell? Okay, where was I at? Okay, I'm still recording. It's the other anxious thing that's there. Oh. Like... so you always have to that's the thing, is the thing that I'm doing right now is what I would have to do years from now if I were to get over it at all. So the thing that I'm doing right now is the same thing I would have to do if I were to just not have done it now, right? Because isn't the same solution to what I'm doing now the same thing you would have to do then? Like, if you are stuck in a life that you don't like because you built it for the wrong reasons, wouldn't you just have to start following what you believe in again? Hence, if you haven't moved away from it in the first place. So, in that regard, I feel very far ahead. And again, because it's hard to explain this. I don't know if it's like language or it's not about comparison. I'm trying to, when I say like ahead or behind, I'm trying to represent progress and also where there's room for growth or being proud of oneself, I guess. What do you call that? Like believing in yourself, that kind of thing. So maybe I need to find better words for that, because a lot of times I'll say like, oh, I think I'm behind, or oh, I think I'm ahead, and a lot of times people say like, oh, don't say you're behind, like it's not that you're behind, like everyone has a different experience. And I'm like, yeah, I know, like I agree. And I think I use shorthand of, oh, I'm behind, by meaning I have this thing that I can work on, and it's something that I can improve with. Or so maybe it's the vocabulary I'm using is rooted in things that I used to say. Or even then, again, back to the Lucille critic thing, maybe it never was about being good, bad, behind, ahead, but the environment I grew up in is rooted in that. So I started to equate growth, perspective, I'm doing the words in quotes, I mean, like growth, perspective, progress, those things I equated with good, bad, behind, and ahead. That's how I feel. Because I think growing up, I knew that those like mindsets, I knew that they weren't, from seeing them, that it wasn't helpful. So I didn't take it at face value, like good, bad. I think I did take it as directions to follow, though, and that's one thing that I'm getting out of now, where I took, and again, that's back to the perspective thing, the things that were concluded as good, bad, ahead, behind, that kind of thing, I took it as absolutes. I don't know if that's like just because that's what you do as a kid, and you can't have all the perspective as a kid. Like there's only so much perspective available, and let alone being able to comprehend it or understand it or see it or empathize with it. There's so many variables. But like when someone would say something was good, I'd be like, okay, that means that thing is good and everything else is something I should stay away from. And inherently the same way, like that thing's bad, it's like, okay, that means I should stay away from it because it's not good, you know? So I was taking the advice of what I should do based off of those black and white things. But now I see it as, from the perspective of the person that said it, it's not something that they align with for their experience. It doesn't dictate whether I'm interested in it, should be interested in it, shouldn't be interested in it. That's another shorthand that I've found. I mean, it comes from the same thing. Should, shouldn't. Now I'm aware of it. It's the same thing, just with those meanings. Like I'll say, oh, I want to do this. Like, say if I'm talking with someone at work, I'm like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I know that I probably shouldn't. They're like, well, you don't have to, like, there's no should or shouldn't. Like, if it's for you, it's for you. And I think that was kind of an awakening thing, because I wasn't aware of that in the first place, like earlier on. So that was kind of a big thing. But now I still use that same verbiage, like, oh, other people might perceive that what I do is something they might not like. I'm still actualized in doing it because I want to, but my shorthand is to say, oh, I know I shouldn't. And people still see that as me embodying that criticism. And again, it makes sense because that's the verbiage that I'm using. All this right now I just kind of figured out. So that's another thing I can work on, is maybe just learning additional vocabulary to discern my awareness of should, shouldn't, good, bad, wouldn't, would, good, bad. I'm aware of the subjectivity of them, which is another tangent I could go into. I guess I will real quick. That I'm curious about objective truth or objective reality, or, and again, maybe it depends on back to the higher power thing. We're still recording, I guess. So maybe it is another Schrodinger's cat, Rust Enum situation. It's probably rooted in that, but I'm within the Rust Enum understanding that, what is that? Objective things are really just subjective, but on a group scale. And I think that that's the perspective thing that's interesting to me, because something that's objective in one group is not in another. So now when someone, at least I think I mentioned this, I might have said this in like one of those audio recordings that I do. I haven't posted one of those in a while. This is kind of that, but just on a video form. But I still have been recording a heck ton of those since then. I just don't post them because then I can go more in depth and not worry about it or whatever. But this one, I'm gonna post it because, yeah, I'm not worried about it anymore. Well, I'm getting better at not worrying about it. Well, you know what? I'm not worried about it. Hell yeah. Because or else I wouldn't be doing it. I'm proud. Progress. Yay! So the thing with perspective, hence why it was one of my big words, and it's, okay, another tangent there. Learning new things into adulthood, but okay, we'll go into that. Make sure I'm gonna pause the video real quick. Okay, just want to make sure we're still recording. Yeah. Subjective, objective. So, like when people say objective blank, you know, like I've never questioned, like, I had never really gone in depth about it, to be fair, because I hadn't really needed to, because since I was so subjective based anyways, I kind of glossed over anything objective, hence like not being very religious or not being very polarized. Like I'm talking from personal perspective, I haven't been very like opinionated on this is right, this is wrong. Like even if I have those beliefs, I know that they're true to me, so maybe that's always been there. But when I was trying to explore objective opinions, not the opinions themselves, but like objective opinions as a whole, I was kind of like, to what scope is objective? Because, and maybe that's part of it, maybe that's the whole thing. It's only objective as it is big in scale. This is the same thing for, and I know it's just it's probably just nominal, but anything that we use for measurements or for language or units or just anything, like when we say like universal, that is kind of silly when you think about what that means. So maybe it is a language thing. Like I know it's meant to be like the scope of everything human based. And it's not wrong, like in the assumption, and I don't think it's literal either. I mean, it could be like the original definition, but there's so much nuance. Like, say if there was only humans as being like this kind of life form of experience in the universe. Like, okay, universal, fine. But the fact that we don't know that there's other life forms out there, like maybe ants have units, we don't know. That doesn't mean that metric is universal, because ants could have an ant system of measurement. I'm not critiquing, I'm pointing out like this funny, I don't know why humans think that we're like better than, or this big thing, like even down to like that we call animals animals. Like, we are animals. Hello? Or, oh, I don't think animals could make, or like, oh, if cities aren't natural. And I get what they're saying, but the wording is a bit odd when you think about it. Like, logically speaking. That's, what am I trying to say? Like, humans are nature, and nature does what it does. So, like, if there's an entire field of beehives, does that mean that, like, if the bees were sentient like we are, I don't know how to describe this, like, does that mean that there's an equivalent of, like, what do you call that? Okay, the little comparison, it's not forming in my head, but like, it just seems like we're very unaware of how small we are, and we think we're bigger than we are. And I think we forget our limitations and our finite time here, just on an experiential scale. Like, had I been born and experienced something from like 400 years ago, that's a much different experience than it is now. Just on a earth and human scale, like, we were much more animal-like than we are now, I guess. And I think that's kind of what I've been connecting to too, is like, it is much easier to think of yourself as just like an animal. Like, there's another video that came up, well, I mean, because we are animals, you know? But there was a video that came up where it was like, oh, I'm not going to make any bold decisions or judgments about myself until I've covered, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, but it was like, I need to make sure that I've had sleep, food, like emotional regulation, and I don't know, you could do other ones too, but it's like creative time or something like that, like, but that, I'm glad that I found that video too, because that's kind of what I've been feeling as of lately. Again, a lot of times, like, I'll start going on a path of, and this is going back to the divine intervention thing, like, there's so many times I'll start doing something implicitly, or it's like a new conclusion I learned on my own, from what I can understand, and then I'll start seeing stuff in my world pop up about it. Whether it's an idea I had in music, I'll end up finding an artist like it, or if it's a conclusion I made, like, I'll make this video, and then maybe I'll see like some other people that have responses to things that I've been asking here, and like, they had no, like, they probably didn't watch my video, but somehow it worked out that way. Or maybe this video will get popular, or, and again, it's not even the point of the video being popular, it's just I'm speaking my mind because that's what I need right now, because that's where I am gonna grow. And from the video this morning, it only helped actualize that this is the next step for me, because I've been feeling it anyways, so hearing it Like, oh, there's a lot of growth. It's so blatantly obvious that this is the next step, that it is what it is. I guess the only other thing I want to talk about was, is this still recording? It is. I don't even know if the audio is good on this. I hope it is. I think it probably is, but whatever. Doesn't matter. At least got out here and said my truth. It doesn't matter whether it recorded it or not. The other thing is I don't have to worry about outcomes anymore. That was another new thing that it's kind of, it sounds dark, but I don't mean it in a dark way. I was going to talk about music, but this is a cool one too. I've been at peace, I think is what I would describe it as, in that, like, if this were to be, there's a plane up there again. Like, if my demise were to occur, I made it already. Like, there's still things I want to do. And it's the opposite of having given up and, like, not having goals. It's the complete opposite of that. It's that this is the point that I've wanted to get to actualize myself. And I'm at peace that I've done so much with what I have had available that I'm only thankful. I'm ever thankful that I've gotten to here now. Does that make sense? Like, with everything that I've had to work through, whether that's life or growth stuff or, like, I've handled it really well. And I've made my conclusions. I've tried my things. So it can only, not like it can only be better from here, because that sounds very black and white. But, like, no matter what happens, I fucking did it, you know? And that's awesome. Like, that's the best thing I could ever ask for. And I don't think anyone can give that to you, now that I realize it. That was another interesting thing, is that I think I was looking for that from people. And that's why it was so hard to connect with people, because I was looking for the wrong thing, but I was looking for what I needed from people because I thought that's how you get it. So then I ended up finding these things where it's like, okay, you can provide the things you need to yourself. And now I see how you spend time with people because you're enjoying life together, because you already enjoy it yourself. That's how I feel. I don't know if that's conclusive. Again, I don't know if that's objective to whatever the scope that is. But, yeah. But yeah, so it's the subjective thing. But yeah, I'm gonna start, like, if someone says, like, oh, that's objective this, objective that, I'm gonna be like, okay, like, thank you for, like, I'm not critiquing you, I'm just curious, like, to what scope is that objective? I would just like to know, like, I'm just curious. And then if they haven't answered, that's great. If they don't, then that's less empowering of that take, I guess you could say, because they don't have the perspective that it's possibly subjective. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? 66 Samus, greatest guy. Devin Townsend, greatest guy. Much of my music process has been around telling Lucille to shut the fuck up. Basically speaking, that's the first thing that my mind just told me. When I say that, a lot of times that's like, I don't know if that's me. I'm very curious about that. It's like, maybe that's a feeling. I don't know. That's new to me. Okay. Because, like, that sounds outlandish. It sounds comedic. It sounds like all these things. But it doesn't feel like that's me. But maybe it is me and I need to embody that. Maybe that's another part of the feeling thing. That those things that I think are just, oh, that was just a fleeting, that was that. It's like, well, that's probably you when you think about it. Yeah. Does that make sense? I don't know. No, I do know. It makes sense. Music has been, about telling Lucille to shut the fuck up, you know? And, that's one of the albums I've been wanting to make. Okay, I could talk about that. But I want to enact all of these different, like, voices. It's not a voice in the audible sense, but it's these angles that turn you this way, that way. I want each of those to be present. And maybe that's, like, kind of like Inside Out, like the movie. I think it's called that. Or there's, like, the emotions and stuff. I want to make an album like that. And I guess it's kind of been like that thus far. I've never really looked at my music through that lens specifically. Like, think about it right now, it's probably, yeah. But, yeah, like I want to have, even if it's like hyper focused, or what do you call that? Like, much more blatant than it actually is, like an overinflated, like, say if you do like examples of overinflated ego, or examples of overinflated anger, or overinflated happiness. I want each of those to be like a character in the album, either like with a voice or with lyrics, or part of the genre, like even that, like each of these kind of lines up with the genre for me, which I wonder if that's why I like so many different kinds of music, because each one of those sides of things lines up with a different experience that I'm like embodying, you know? So like all of those different like takes on things, maybe it's just, maybe that's emotions? Is that emotions? Interesting. Alright. Good to know. And then, now that I have this, it might be a little different, because there's more avenues. It's not just a single one. But music has been me exploring those things without having to vocalize it, because I don't think I was comfortable with it yet, or I wasn't to the place of being able to do this, let alone sharing it online. What am I doing? Do you know what I'm doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah! That was the hyperactive emotion, I guess. Alright. How old am I? 23? Fuck. I don't give a crap. So whatever that was, that's what happened on Recreational Outrage 2, which I just released yesterday. No, 2 days ago? 2 days? 2 days. Okay. I swear, these bezels, bro. Yo! Yeah! What were we talking about? I can't quite remember. Dude, I want to make, this is why I've been doing video stuff, because, and same with getting the camera, I want to do this video, like, character stuff. And now this is interesting, too, that it's been very hard for me for the longest time to think of this stuff. And I might still be, have more work to do with it, like, seeing it as characters rather than, like, myself. Like, a lot of times, like, all this stuff has been about personal growth, or things that I can or can't do. Again, black and white thinking. So I'm trying to start to externalize it into other things, you know, rather than it being solely about my trip. Like, even if it's based on my trip, or it's feeding into my trip, or making it stronger, or like improving it, or an experience I had that was negative, and blatantly stating, oh, this was my experience, like, I feel about this way, like, I can still do all that, but it doesn't have to be from the first person perspective, which I think is kind of what was that aha moment. I think, like, it was a week ago maybe, where I was like, dude, is this what people use for acting? And oh, that was the thing that I wrote, or that I mentioned in my podcast thing that I record for myself, like at home on my voice memos on my phone. But it was that I had that aha moment of like, oh, is this how actors write things? Or I mean, maybe how actors don't necessarily write their parts, but the people that write parts and characters and things like, or emotions, or I mean, that's the thing, is that maybe it is still a personal trip for me, but it's externalized. Because I was gonna say, much like the music making process being like, I have an audio-based vision. That's an interesting phrase. An auditory vision. Like I end up recording it, articulating it like with my own instruments and like playing it and stuff, and then recording it and mixing it and releasing it and making the artwork. Like, for me, the entire vision is that process. And I think again, perspective thing, it's interesting to me that other people don't operate like this. It's not even that I like didn't know that, it didn't click for me. Because so much of that for me is like integrated, like I want to see the whole stack in a certain way. And it's not that I don't, like, that's another thing that I want to grow eventually. I'm trying to work out how to do that with the skills that I do have. Like, I want to collaborate with people, yet I don't leave room for that because I don't think I know how it would fit. Maybe because I don't need to know how it fits, and that's kind of the whole point. Like, you don't design parts for people. Some bands do that, and it's with the goal, whatever. But yeah, recreational outrage and all of this stuff, like, I guess recreational outrage, the series now, because there's 2 albums, that's the closest I've been to exemplifying all of those like states, whether it's like those voices or those the critics, the people that embrace, or again, I don't know if it's emotions or characters or whatever it is. That definitely is the closest to having all of that. And I think that's why I love it so much. And again, I know it's subjective. That's the thing. Like, to me, I think right now, I like the first album more than the second album. Not that it's like better or good or all those words, but the magic of the first album, it's so me, you know? Even if it's like all over the place and like some people won't like it, I don't care. If they don't understand it, that's not on me. Like, you know? It's just so, it's like looking in a mirror and you're like, that's fucking it. It's right there. It's right there. Even if it's like an overinflated version of it, of you, like, that's kind of the point of it too. It's like just, whoa, okay, all right. Like, it's just so, man, I love Recreational Outrage 1. It's so good. Honestly, I haven't even listened through number 2 all the way yet. It's a little bit less connected as the first one was, but that's okay. It's a different album. That's the thing. It's not a good or bad thing in that I like the first one. It's that the first one came from a very specific place. It's like it hadn't been spoken yet on those terms, so that was like a big move. And the second album, it was kind of more, I guess, honest. Like, I mean, it was less overinflated, and there was different creative constraints. Like, I wanted to release it, I want to and going to release it on vinyl, so it couldn't be the duration that it could have needed to be, possibly. The songs were written like more open-endedly. Like, there was more procured, I guess you could say. Like, I just was trying new things. And in the same way that the first album didn't have to be a way or another way, like it didn't have to be a certain way, the second album was the same way. So it fully did exactly what it was supposed to be. I just liked the first album more, you know? Because of the grandioseness of it. Like, that's very, very cool. And that's the thing, is that, like, it wasn't that the second album didn't meet up to the expectations. It just didn't have as much going into it. Again, it's probably because there was a bunch of hardships. Like, I mean, we had a passing in the family, so that's definitely still heavy on the mind. I mean, in the last 2 years, we've had people we lost. And then before that, it was all about losing the person slowly over a multiple couple of years. So there wasn't like a period of just, oh, they're gone. It was like, oh, they're changing. They are still here, but it's not them. And then it kept going, and then it's like, okay, now they're gone. And now it's just silence. And again, that's the thing that goes back to the divine energy thing. Like, my heart feels like like they're helping me, and I'm very grateful for it. And again, logically speaking, there's a bunch of other things where it's like, oh, I've already gone over that. But my heart is like, they're helping after, and I'm very thankful, you know? Yeah, Recreational Outrage 2, I had to kind of keep reminding myself that there's no expectations for it. I think that's kind of the Recreational Outrage series. Now it's a series. The main goal is that, again, it's not a goal. It's that, like, it's fully open-ended. There's no expectations. There's no criticism. It doesn't have to be a certain thing. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be bad. It just is. So, and I think that's kind of why it reminds me of Elkosaurus too, because that one, it was like, well, that was a little bit different. It's a different constraint, but it's the same in that there's no constraint. Like, that album, it was like, I'm gonna make the worst album ever. And I knew that that's not like a thing, because again, that's rooted in comparison or whatever. Like, it's just the action of, I'm gonna make the worst album ever. And then there was a bunch of things that I liked about it. And I like that how the artistic vision of, it's just, what is that? Bombastic or verbose, like. So I think the nature of how Recreational Outrage and Elkosaurus, how they came about, they both ended up having that, but they came from a different thing, you know? So, and then like with Recreational Outrage 2, I was trying to really, and I'm glad that it's not the same album too, because if it was, I would be bummed about that, you know? Like, that's almost the funny part about making a second album too, that I know that you are comparing the second one to the first one. Like, because the first time when I thought of the idea, I was like, oh, I could make like a second Recreational Outrage. Like, oh, maybe I should like wait a year. And then I was like, you know what? It's only been like 5 months. I'm gonna fucking make a second album, a sequel. And then I was like, you know, that's actually like, it's kind of silly. And I was like, that's it. That's why you got to do it then. Because it's silly. And I like the idea. It isn't that it is silly. It's that I feel happy with the silliness of the idea. That's just how I tend to operate. Like, and it only had been a few months. So that's kind of funny too. And that's the other interesting thing, that the album didn't really have the same constraints, like how it has to fit on vinyl. It was mixed differently, like with the headphone EQ stuff. Like, I wasn't quite as particular about the sound. Well, like, I want it to sound good. It does sound good, but there is like some imperfections. But I was also kind of like, well, you know what? I'm happy with where it's at, and I want it to be complete. And much like the first album, that's how it concluded. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna trust that instinct, and I'm just gonna do it. So that's the same mechanism of how the first album ended, where it was like, I don't know why this is over, but I feel like it's over, so it's over, you know? Like when you decide the album's done. Because if I were to base it off of all the criteria of like, oh, is the loudness all correct? Or like, oh, is it all compressed so it sounds good? Or like, oh, is the bass response good? Like, just use your ear, do what you can. If you listen to it and you have this inclination like, oh, I think we're good, send it. Do it. Do it. You won't, right? But I will. That's the thing. You know? That's what you do. If you're listening to this just audio only, I'm making a bunch of weird ass fucking faces. Another random thing, now that we're here, when I was finishing up Harry, I think just about a year ago, maybe just over a year ago, it had been on my computer for a while, and it's not like I was like trying to not finish it, I just hadn't clicked with sitting in the project for a bit until like that while later. I think it was like a year after I did it that I finished it and then released it. But I think I kind of had a similar experience to this morning, like a year ago when I was working on Harry to finish it. I was almost gonna go record something like this over in the canyon over there. It's not the one you can see. It's the canyon. There's the canyon you can see. It's not that canyon. It's the canyon you can't see, over on the other side of the canyon over there, the ridge over there. Just for reference. We're still recording 29 minutes. This is gonna be a long freaking video, dude. But whatever. The whole experience has been growing around just doing what you want to do, following your happy. That's another conclusion I had the other day, where I had mentioned how moving out would exemplify me being self-reliant. Or internally, this is what I equate it to. So much like how I equate the certain words with meanings that maybe don't necessarily mean the words, like good, bad, thing, like the comparison words I was talking about. Moving out represented to me the state I would be in to where I would be able to support myself, whether that be like emotions or understanding or like the things that I'm doing now. I think this is what I equated with, okay, when I get to the point of being able to move out, this is the things that I would want to be able to have. So much of a big deal of me being like, oh, why haven't I moved out yet? Like, it's not even about that. It's about this, what we're doing right now. Whether that's being honest with people or speaking your feelings or following your instincts or doing what you want to do, or rather like not listening to Lucille, you know, that kind of thing. And it's windy. I hope this isn't super windy on the audio, but it's fine. It is what it is. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah, so, like, wanting to move out, like, because when people ask me my goals, it was like, what's, like, your goal of what you want to do? And for me, it was, I want to move out, and I want to be happy. And I think those were shorthand for the moving out, which I explained, and then happy is, I guess, being content with oneself, which I am now. I'm so happy now. And I have boundaries internally on, like, if other people are throwing their shit at me, whether it's in public or whatever, like, I don't see it as something I have to deal with anymore. Like, it's one thing to be courteous to them, and that's the thing, is, like, I'm not setting any of that aside. Like, I'm absolutely there, like, if someone needs help, or if they want to talk or whatever, like, or if they have some kind of irk, like, I'm gonna try and help. But if they're trying to, like, project it onto me, I'm like, well, that's your problem, like, sorry. And not being like that, but, like, internally feeling that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm never gonna be rude about it in that way to them, but internally I'm unapologetic about it, you know? And I noticed how much of a, I don't know if it's, like, specific, I was gonna say, I noticed how much of a people pleaser I was, and that kind of opened up my eyes. There's someone at work who was like that, and I realized that I didn't like them at first, and it took me a bit to realize that it was because they're so much like me, and I didn't like that about me, so I didn't like they were very helpful, very kind, and then when I put that together, I was like, oh my gosh. So again, about the perspective thing, I'm glad that I did change things up from my previous job. And there's so many, it's not just the job, like, and this is kind of why I also don't, well, I'm thinking before I'm speaking. I'm thankful that I changed perspectives of the job because of the things that come along with it that you didn't know you were behind in, or again, it's not behind. There's new perspectives of things that you didn't know you didn't have. And then also the things that you were stuck in, you know? Like, of the, what would you say, like, the real world experience of having, like, a new job or things like that, like, all that is, I'm glad I learned that too, like, learning, oh, the way of work at the previous place isn't how other places operate. That was mind-blowing to me. That's just, like, a surface level, like, oh, wow. It's more of an observational one. Like, I don't think other people, when I mention that to other people, they're like, okay. But to me, it's kind of like it's less emotion-based or that kind of thing. Like, it's a practical difference. Like, just learning different ways how a business operates, the different goals, things like that. Is it recording? Okay. But then the other ones are like the emotional bandwidth that comes along with it. And that's new perspectives for me. But that's what I was going to point out. That's why I don't feel like I want to, at least right now, again, it's not conclusive, but in how I feel right now, I don't want to ever settle. If that makes sense. Because it's one thing if I'm, like, happy and I find something that makes me happy. But even then, it does change, because say, like, music is and has been, I'm not moving away from music, don't worry. What time? Whatever. Music has been that vessel for me for the last 5 years now, since, like, having done Alcosaurus. It has been the vessel that has made all this, it's been part of the vessel that's made all this possible. And say, like, the things of making videos now, or like, what is that, like the story writing I was saying, or like if I do acting or things like that, those are probably going to change, you know? Like, maybe maybe music won't be my center focal point of growth like it has been. It's just a different thing, you know? Like, it's because it's whatever thing you're interested in or wanting to learn. But that's the same thing with the jobs too. Like, I'm content with where I'm at now. Same with the other place too. Like, from where I was at as a person, it was exactly what I wanted and needed. But I had that inclination, which again, it was hard to describe to people because they assumed that I wanted to leave because I didn't like it there. But that's not the case. I ended up saying that because that just makes it easier in conversation, which again is a not speaking your true feelings thing, but that was a time and place. I had that feeling like, this is exactly where I want to be, and it's everything I've ever wanted. It isn't what it isn't, and I love that. Like, the things that I didn't want from a job, it was that. The things that I did want from a job, it was that. The things that I was and wasn't comfortable with, it was also that. But I had that, like, little speak in there, and again, it's a good thing. That little thing in there that was saying, like, but do you want that forever? It was like, but does that, but then what? Like, it was that question. It was like, but then what? Like, you have everything you've wanted, so now what's the next move? If you found everything, then what? And then I was kind of like, you know what? I think you're right. So then I was open to whatever opportunity is available to mix things up, to learn more. I'm going to take it. So then the opportunities did come up, and there's all this growth about it. Again, it's not like the change was inherently causal for the growth, but I mean, like, I think I aspire to, I feel better with that. And I don't know if I was scared of this before, or my what I would tell myself was, oh, I don't like change. And I think I was afraid of change for the longest time. And change is always scary, I guess. That's a black and white statement too. But I remember, like, just getting older, like, I was scared of that. Like, when I was like, I think I turned 10, and I was like, I'm so sad because I'm no longer a one-digit age. Like, I will never be a one-digit age ever again. And, like, I was, like, crying in my closet. And, like, you know what I mean? But I think I've just found that it's easier to embrace change than to fight against it. And it's not that I'm, like, all for change all the time, if it's just for the sake of it. I'm honestly not that. Like, if there's an inclination to change because it's a positive thing to do or something, like if it's a obvious, like, oh, this will help with that, or like, I'm all for it. Like, again, that's black and white thinking, I think, again, but that's what I was trying to point out too, about the perspective thing. With how much more I've gained just from the perspective of the last, it's been, what is that, 2 years? 2 years? Is that it? I don't think I would want to settle, at least not for a long time. Like, what's the reason to? There's so much more room available of what I have to learn, and I guess this kind of wraps up with the one last thing. I don't know if this is what I was talking about earlier, or if I was gonna talk whatever, but like, with people wanting to go party or self-erase because it's too hard, like, I'd rather go home and learn about how to edit videos from the new camera, like with Apple Prolog or Apple Log or things like that. Like, I'd rather be putting my time into actionable things that I enjoy, that I benefit from, than to just passively enjoy something. That's been so much more fun to me. Like, being out here and talking. Like, this morning, that video came up, and then I was about to get into my regular routine. Again, not good or bad, just I was about to push along to watching more videos just out of comfort of it seemed like it was what I kind of wanted to do. But then I was like, you know what? I don't think this inclination's gonna be here for the next hour. I gotta go and act on it now. I'm gonna have some food. I'm gonna clean up my hair to some extent. I don't know if that worked out. That's silly. It's not a criticism. Oh, maybe it is. Whatever. Because I did clean up my hair. But I was like, I'm gonna act on this because I don't think it will be here if I just keep sitting here. So it's like, okay, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it now. And then I chased it, and then I'm out here, and I've been talking for like an hour or two, or however long it's been. And that's the kind of thing that I don't intend to lose with adulthood, and I'm gonna hold on with all my might. And maybe that's, I don't know if that's ever like a kid thing or like maybe it's not a kid or adult thing, it's just a notion of what it is. Like, at least I feel like kids are better at it, so that's why I associate it with like being younger. Like, I don't know if that's impulsivity or like, there's so many reasons you can come up with why not to do something, and then you end up not doing it. And then you ask later why you didn't do it. And then it's like, oh, it's because those things told me not to do it again. Or those things again told me to not do it. So then you don't. And that's kind of the point of the perspective thing. Well, I want to keep learning new things, trying new things. And that sounds broad. It's like, oh, you mean food? Do you mean restaurants? Do you mean like, but I mean like trying new careers, trying new hobbies, trying new genres, trying new runs, like trying new trails, talking with new people, going to new places. Ideally, it would mean moving to new cities as well. But I don't totally fully have I gotten to that point yet. Because I know there's like the van life or things like that. Like, I haven't fully committed to one or the other. Like, I definitely want to live small. I don't want to live big per se. But I also do want to, like, the things that I do want from life, you do need some kind of sense of stability. Not like a economic or adult, like that kind of office tie-in suit kind of thing, but I mean like me traveling around the world, that is going to make it harder for me to stick with people in the long term. Like, if I want to get to know someone closely, like, you spend time in similar places with them, and that's the kind of thing too. Like, I do want to be close with someone, and maybe that's the thing, is that like maybe that learning and moving life, maybe that would have to come after having met someone. Because at least I would understand, like, again, maybe I'm thinking too logically. Okay, I'll have to do more feeling-based stuff. But, it's like, what? Sorry, I'm trying to think. It went quiet again. What time is it? Let me pause. Like and that's the other thing too, is I do value routine and stability and things like that, like on a personal level. Again, I don't know if I have ADHD or like ADHD, that kind of thing, or if I'm just a person that likes routine or whatever the reason is. Like, I definitely do like patterns and things. Like, I don't like to change up a bunch, but I like changing routines. That's the thing, I think, how I would describe it. And having new routines has helped a lot. Not like in a certain window, but I mean like for the longest time it was always a specific routine. And now having multiple channels of routines and going between them, that's been great. That's kind of been like a newer paradigm. Also, this is also, does this look cool? I think so. Oh, I'm a little dizzy now. Go the other way. Oh, I'm still dizzy. Should I just go walk? I'm gonna keep walking, I think. Am I still recording? These bezels, bro. Ugh. Am I recording my face? I am recording my face. I was like, dude, what if I'm just like recording the front of my phone this whole time too? But yeah, like combining. Sorry. Like, oh, maybe it's like they say alchemy. I like the concept of that. Like, I'm using, I love to cross-pollinate. That's the other thing, is that I love to cross-pollinate all the things that I do. And in order to fuel all that stuff, there has to be new avenues to do, you know? So that's like why looking into emotional stuff, or looking into video recording, or story writing, or music mixing, music mastering, like, or coding, like being able to do all of those and see them as one actionable set of tools. Like I don't discern different stacks, whether that's good or bad, because well, again, not, it's just different. Having like a tool set in that regard, this looks cool, that's varied. It kind of makes it just transparent. Like when I wanted to upload a video, well, the video that I did the other day for Resolute, I think it was, I recorded it on my phone. I did the mix and master on my computer. I used the Focusrite for like the guitar and stuff. I used Logic Pro. I bounced it lossless. I think but whatever. Did the audio stuff. I combined the audio with the video with ffmpeg because iMovie would re-encode it, and then upload it to YouTube. And I don't know how many people not in coding would use ffmpeg. You know, like I don't think there's like a I don't think I've seen like regular people use ffmpeg, you know? I don't blame them. Like, if you're not into coding, why would you use ffmpeg? And that's the thing, is that like I'm thankful that I've cross-pollinated to where I have tools that wouldn't otherwise be available because I hadn't cross-pollinated. So now new workflows have been made because I inherently do different things. So that seemingly is why I want to keep learning to cross-pollinate, because there's more avenues like that are arising, and it seems like a no-brainer because it's more fun, it's more articulate, it's a bunch of different things, and it just comes up with things that you hadn't heard before or seen before. And that's the same with like wanting to try new instruments, or just a bunch of different things like that, you know? And and that's why I also feel I desperately want to do things with more people. I just haven't fostered myself a good tool set to do such. Like whether it's like collaborating, or maybe it's that I'm not letting myself collaborate, or whatever the thing is, I'm desperately willing of myself to want to collaborate more, because for everybody involved, there's growth. And the stuff that I've done on my own is great, and I've done so much on my own, and it's awesome. But it's definitely holding me back to only be on my own. And I want to change that, and I'm going to change that. Where are you at? I hear you. It's so pretty out today. Is that blurry when I am myself? I hope not. Whatever. Yeah, isn't it pretty out here? I love it. It's my favorite place in the world. I know it's just by where I live, but it's so good. Love it up here. My feeling of conclusion, I guess, is that I want to continue doing this kind of stuff, whether it's like not on a performative level or like just not even performative, but like, I mean, this is meant to be this kind of thing. I want to do this like with people, where it's like a one-on-one, or even like it could be in a group thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I want to connect with people more. I want to be open with people more. I'm going to be more open with people more. One of the experiences with Lucille yesterday, which is what brought up the conversation yesterday, which I'm glad I did bring it up, was that someone asked, like, oh, so like what's been like on your mind lately? Like what's been like your latest fascination or something like that? And one of it was, or like they had asked that, and then like I kind of had just had a blank stare, and I realized that my mind went into this huge loop of like, okay, what's like acceptable for this environment? What kind of things would they enjoy? What kind of things would they not enjoy? What's applicable to now? What's good context to talk about? Like what would make the conversation longer? And then I was like, and like it was like a good like 4 or 5 seconds, I think. And then I was like, I'm like too tired. Like I don't know if I'm thinking of anything right now. And then they're like, okay. And then the guy next to me asked, or he responded, he's like, oh, it's just been like about music, or again, I was too stuck in my own mind. I couldn't even remember what he said. And then that's kind of what brought my thought of like, what is that? It's that like, before I even respond with my latest like true answer, it just gets shut down. And that's what got me into this, delving into the whole Lucille thing. And I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I'm out here. And I wish the best for you. And I hope, and I'm talking to you watching, please go out there and do what you want to do. Please follow your heart. Don't listen to the critic in your head, or the whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a baseball bat. It could be like a teddy bear with evil eyes that's like smiling. Sure. It's like, oh, it looks cuddly, but it's like ill-intended. Yep, that's what I've been trying to explain. Maybe Lucille is a teddy bear with a smile and evil eyes instead of a baseball bat. It's still called Lucille, but yeah, don't listen to Lucille anymore. Like, you don't have to cater yourself to every situation. You can be different. You can be unique. You can be yourself. You can do what you want to do. You don't have to do what everyone else does. They don't have to like what you do. You don't have to like what they do. You can still spend time together. You can still talk. You can still learn from each other. You can still teach each other. I was gonna say you can still argue with each other, but I don't like that. And I was also about to shut that down, and then I realized, you know what? That should be announced. So I don't know if that was Lucille that was telling no. Interesting. So I wonder if that's the same mechanism. Because in that case, I think it was a good response, but other times it's not. Yeah. Yeah, just follow your frequencies. Chase them. I mean, catch them. I mean, it's not like you're like chasing them. Just a figure of speech. Just go enjoy the beautiful world. It's really beautiful. You're not here for long. You won't be young forever. Just let a fart out every once in a while. Who cares? You know? Alright. Keep it up.